it's time to jump into Live for Speed, the first driving simulator that I'm aware of, aside from Project Cars, that has VIVE, HTC VIVE full VR support. And of course, Live for Speed was one of the first simulators ages ago to get the original Oculus Rift support. So it seems fitting that this should be our first experience in virtual reality in a car. Now, as we're saying, I did get this set up last night, so this isn't truly the first experience. It's all lies. It's all smoke and mirrors. But as with the DK2 support, it works. It's fantastic. The biggest advantage of the VIVE over the DK2 is, of course, the improved resolution. It gives you a lot more clarity of image, but we'll go over some specifics because there's a couple of key things that people really want to know about when it comes to driving simulators and virtual reality. So we'll go through them, but first let's just get out on the track. But absolutely stunning. Sat in our car here, getting ready to go on the track. It feels like you're in a garage. Really helps having a sim rig that puts you in pretty much the same position. Unfortunately, my sim rig isn't in a Formula position. My chair is absolutely perfect, but the pedals, my feet are sort of, they'd be going into the ground right now. We're Flintstoning this vehicle along, but the chair's perfect, and that, I think that actually does add quite a bit to the immersion. Before, when I had the DK2, I was using the Wheelstand Pro, and it didn't line up as much because I was in an office chair, but having an actual car seat on a rig really does help. Let's go! Let's go into second gear to get rolling. Oh, okay, hang on. First mistake. We've gone the wrong way. Let's turn around. It's this layout. Now, credit to the Live for Speed developer, or developers and developer, for always being on the ball with VR. It's absolutely fantastic that they're always there and they always have cracking VR support. All the menus and things work. Let's quickly look at that. And nicely, the menus use a little target so you can aim with your face and just use your spacebar to select stuff. And when you're in VR, that's actually quite convenient to be able to do. So let's just resume there. So all that works. Really simple to load up. You don't even need to get it working on Steam. You just patch your game, make sure Steam VR's running, and you just load it up and away you go. And it all just launches straight away with no problems. And nicely, one of the things that's happened with since the Vive's come out and also the consumer Oculus Rift is that the stuff like mirroring the VR for captures is a lot more intuitive. So recording with OBS is a lot easier. But onto the specifics as we lock our wheels as we drive around the track. Onto the specific differences with the Vive over the DK2. As I say, the biggest difference is the resolution. I would say it's about maybe 25% or so more clear in resolution. But it's, in my opinion, the improvement just gets it over that threshold where it's possible to actually see breakpoints on pretty much all the tracks. Whereas with the DK2, I noticed this in iRacing especially, on the Canadian circuit Jules Villeneuve, with the Star Mazda in iRacing, with the DK2, the very last corner, hitting the breakpoints, even with Sweet FX on, it was really hard to see the brake markers because the brake markers are tiny on that track. And on the very last chicane, you have to absolutely nail the brake point, or you're either going to go straight over the chicane and ruin your race, or end up in the wall, or you're braking way too early and you've just lost all your lap time. So, crucially, with the visibility increase in here, what I'll do is I'll stop by some brake markers so you get an idea. Oh dear, the understeer around that corner, I have to watch out for that. From testing last night, the visibility for it being clear, as in you can read text properly that's quite small, is around about 120 metres or so. And I worked that out based off the breakboard markers. I probably picked the best track for this here. There's some breakboard markers up here. These are giant ones on this track. don't know if this track... oh, there you go. Some breakboard markers there. So those are giant ones. Now, obviously they're like 1 metre wide by half a metre tall. But I can see the 100 metre board perfectly clear. I can read the 50 metre board, but it starts to be out of focus. In terms of smaller details, the little roundabout sign just to the left of the 100 metre board there, with the blue with the circles, with the arrows going pointing out the roundabout, I can see those arrows just about, like the end of them, just about there. They're not completely crisp, but that'd be enough to work out, you know, where a brake marker is, to sort of preempt yourself and to be aware of what's coming up clearly. Now I can't see completely into the distance there. I can see the chevrons denoting the roundabout, and I could actually see the road markers going to the distance, but they're slightly out of focus. But the crucial thing was with the DK2, it really was crippling your ability to actually see into the distance. So it was an objective fact that would, unless you memorise the track to some extent, would hold you back. So learning tracks with the DK2 would be quite tricky. But with the VIVE, I feel like I've got enough visual fidelity there at a basic level. It could be better, don't get me wrong. It's not perfect, but at a basic level, looking into the distance, for the context of driving simulators, the fidelity is there for it to be a practical screen, if you will, on top of all the immersion and everything else that comes with it. But that is really crucial. Now, another aspect of what you notice with the improvements in the resolution are, with the DK2, because the resolution wasn't quite there, it actually hid the sort of textures or the non-photoreal aspect of a game environment. With the VIVE, it's crisp enough now that when I look at this floor texture, it looks like a textured floor. It doesn't look like a real floor. It'd be interesting to try this. I haven't tried this with Project Cars yet, or with one of the driving simulators that has more photorealistic floor textures. But with the VIVE, on Live for Speed at least, the environment does have that sort of gamey texture quality to it. Now I'm not dissing Live for Speed. I actually really like the visual quality of Live for Speed. It has that sort of clean, practical simulator look to it. But because the headset's of such a quality, you can now actually see that clean simulator visual quality to the game, where it wasn't necessarily notable in DK2. So that's good for the headset. Bad for games because they need to up their quality, or the headset won't hide the fidelity of the games. Now, in terms of the lenses on the VIVE, this is another thing if you use the DK2. There's a thing called the sweet spot, which is basically where the headset is on your face in terms of where your eyes are, where the headset needs, how wide the area is for the image to be clear. Because the lenses are having to distort an image on these displays, the lenses have to be really cleverly designed. It's really awkward for them to get you a wide sweet spot so you can have the headset on in different places to have things clear. Now the sweet spot for things looking clear on the VIVE is actually pretty big, a lot bigger than the DK2. But having said that, when you're driving a cockpit car like this, FXR I think it's called, it's a fictional, I don't know what it's based on, but when you're driving a car like this, a Formula car at least, if you have the headset in the optimal comfortable position, or the optimal position that you're supposed to have the headset, we would have it on for other VR games, because the way you sat in this car, you tend to sort of lift your head up a little bit to peer over the dash rather than knock your head down, and then that can make things a bit out of focus because you're having to look down outside of the sweet spot. But what I found is placing the headset slightly higher than I naturally would means that when I've got my head tilted back up a little bit, I can now see everything very clearly in front of me. Now it's not like completely lose vision when you're not at the sweet spot. It's just that it's not as crisp. It's just slightly blurred when you don't have that set up right. That's the distance. In terms of clarity of stuff in the cockpit and close up, it's absolutely mind-blowing. Again, you can see the limitation of the texture resolution of the game, which is really nice. Dials and everything are completely crisp with no issues. You don't need to move forwards to read them as you would have to do with the DK2, for example. So all the cockpit, what's going on in the cockpit, all the dials and everything, that is completely natural now. The resolution is more than enough to let you see everything, start, ignition, off. Really clear, really legible. The steering wheel, the three-dimensionality of the cockpit, absolutely superb and runs flawless. Like, I can read that text all the way with my head sticking out the cockpit. With the DK2, that was not going to happen at all. What's particularly exciting about that is not only, obviously, for driving sims, you can now read your fuel gauge and stuff whilst in an optimal driving position or whilst looking to see if someone's making a move on you. For flight simulators, you'll now be able to use, sort of see all the cockpit buttons and all the dials very clearly, which was a massive hurdle, I think, for older VR headsets, and absolutely superb that this now works. Of course, we will be checking out DCS and some flight sims at some point. The other aspects I've already talked about in other videos with the DK2. It's just the same, that in terms of it's 3D, so you get a far better sense of speed, you get a far better sense of vehicle placement on the track, because I'm not sure how much of it's a 3D or how much of it's being actually immersed in the environment. Translational movements of the car, so I'm going to say the wrong words here. The sort of yaw, the yaw in the actual lateral sliding of the vehicles far more noticeable in VR than it is on a 2D screen, and it's also more sort of, it's more intuitively noticeable in VR. It's partly you feel it in your stomach, which might give some people some motion sickness. If you feel it in your stomach in a real car, though, let's face it. But I guess the movements match up with what's going on, so it's probably not an issue. But you just feel it in a far more guttural, intuitive sense in VR than you do on any screen setup I've used. And I've used proper multiple triple screen setups with massive screens. My normal triple screen setup is a 322-inch screens, 124-inch and two 22-inch screens, which are really good, and triple screen's amazing, but it just doesn't compare to what VR gives you and offers. But absolutely incredible. Now, I think the big question a lot of people might ask is, unfortunately, VR headsets at this point in time are ridiculously expensive, and for example, the VIVE is £750 with postage, because HTC are mental and they like to ship things by rocket ship. Apparently, I'm not sure why it costs 50 quid, but there you go. And the Oculus Rift, Consumer Rift, which from all reports is fairly comparable to the VIVE in terms of quality. There's some different differences. We will get one to test, but Oculus are taking their time shipping our Rift to us. But the Rift is £500, so they are very expensive. But the question is it worth it? Now, for me, as someone, this is the problem with VR. It's not perfect yet. It still has room to improve. Resolution could obviously still be better. Comfort, especially on this Vive, I think could be better. But the issue is, once you try VR, it's very hard to go back. So what I would recommend in general is, if you haven't tried it, don't try it, and you won't necessarily miss it so much. And maybe you can wait until either the Vive comes down in price, different strap systems come out, different headset phones, interfaces, other VR headsets come out, and they're cheaper in general. If you're just going to use it for sim racing, this is. Wait a little bit and you're sorted. The problem is, if you do try it, you're not going to want to go back to monitors, because it just offers so much for simulators in terms of, as I say, awareness, seeing what's going on, and feeling like you're actually in a car. And let's face it, most people that are playing driving simulators, I know a lot of us are doing it sort of for competitive reasons, to do sort of league racing or iRacing online and try and beat other people and inflate our egos. But I think the bulk of people, on top of that, are doing it because they want to feel like they're in a car. They love the sort of feel of driving. And nothing, no screen setup or any projector setup I've used compares to the feel that you get from VR in terms of feeling like you're actually inside of a car. And if you're the type of person that's maybe not into racing so much, but you like cruising, or you also like just looking at the different vehicles or driving lots of different vehicles in Sims, again, VR is going to absolutely blow you away because you can really, really appreciate all the cockpit details in ways that you just couldn't on a screen. I mean, we kind of talked about this with DK2. The Vive with its resolution just makes it even more clear. Let's get to another car. We'll go back to the menus actually. So I'll end this race. You'll see how good Live for Speed. I can't pronounce his name of the developer. I'm sorry, so I'm not even going to attempt it. But we'll go for another car. We'll go for. Let's go for this sort of Porsche knockoff. Put a skin on it at least. There we go. And we'll take this out to a different track. Let's go to a more open track. Oh, let's do BLGP. Good old BLGP. It's always there. So, what's funny is Live for Speed loads instantaneously now. It's like being teleported. It's like Star Trek, teleported straight in. So, cockpits and stuff. Although Live for Speed, as I say, graphically is starting to be a little bit dated now. So, you notice in VR, especially with the Vive, even more so than the DK2, that the doors are paper thin. I'm trying to touch stuff that's not there. You have to remind yourself. But, you know, it's all there. And the tracking on the Vive, because you've got the two lighthouse units, you know, I can put my head anywhere. In fact, I can get out the vehicle. I've not cleaned my room properly, so we're probably going to tread on things. But you can get out your vehicle, put your head through the ceiling. I know you've seen lots of people do this, so you get the idea. But, oh, there's my room. Tiny little room. So you can get out of the vehicle, have a look around. You could, if you have enough space, if you had a warehouse with the Vive, and this is actually possible, you could walk the entirety of the track in virtual reality. But you would need a warehouse for it. And that's one of the things with the Vive VR. There's my headless body. Strangely, my real world steering wheel lines up 100% with the virtual steering wheel there, which is a little bit disconcerting. But yeah, you could with the way the Vive works. I've moved my rig now. I've moved my chair in the car out of the way. With the way the Vive works, you could literally walk an entire space, an infinite amount of space, if you have enough space to do that, because you mark it out in your room. Let's just drive this a little bit. You see, I'm using my shift here. That's another one of the questions people have is, would you be able to use your shifter in VR? Of course, it's on the wrong side for this vehicle, but we'll just make do with that. I've not found it a problem. I mean, I think you sort of, you know where your shifter is intuitively. You don't, when you're driving, you don't go and look at your shifter position, do you? You know where it is. Stuff like button boxes might be a little bit tricky at the moment, but the Vive does have a camera on it. And there's, I think developers can grab a hold of that camera and overlay it, so you would be able to push a button. I don't see why you couldn't do this in software, but it's there in the hardware. You could have a little window showing you your camera. I mean, you get this on a Steam controller. I can't, because the way I'm capturing this video, I can't show you what's going on Steam VR. But you could have it so the camera picks up and you could see where your real-world hands are on a little display to push your real-world button boxes or push your steering wheel buttons or whatever, you know, whatever you want to do. As I go in the wrong gear there. So, absolutely fantastic. I think that's one thing with the Rift. It doesn't have the camera on it, and I can see loads of uses for the camera. But then, having said that, you could stick a USB camera on the front of on the Rift. I forgot what it's called now. It's a little. You stick any camera on it really, and I'm sure software could pick up on it. So, just absolutely superb. I mean, just being able to look into corners, shut the car in a bit, slide the car around, be able to do it really naturally. Over-rev the engine, destroy the car, drive badly, but drive badly in virtual reality. The track must be in England because you can see it's all cloudy. just superb. I just can't wait for iRacing, Assetto Corsa and the other simulators. Oh, they didn't quite work out how I was expecting there. I wanted to chuck that in for a slide. I've stalled it. Get me out of the vehicle. Yeah, so it's going to be fantastic for all the other simulators to have VR. And I think, though VR is not perfect, like I say, the resolution still could do with a bit of improvement. And the biggest hurdle is the price of the headsets. With Oh, we don't even care. Okay, I'm going to have to get rid of this because otherwise it'll be on the screen all the time. So we'll restart race. Sorry, Live for Speed. So, yeah, it's just the price. I think it is very pricey. Personally, I think it's worth it because I know I'm going to be playing flight sims, driving games, and I love the additional features it gives you. But I could see why people might want to hold off a little bit. Maybe for either the next gen of VR or just for this gen to come down a bit. And I think Oculus and HTC have been pretty clear in terms of saying that they're sort of going for maybe a 2-year development cycle on these headsets, so the price should come down relatively fast. It's so good. Perception of speed is so much better. I don't think this car's meant to be drifted. Let's go. I wanted to do some drifting, so let's go back to. Let's get an actual drifty car, something that'll drift nice and easy. This looks like it's drifting. I haven't got any of this set up. I've just done a fresh install, so let's get a different track. It's a little bit drifty. People have like the car parks and stuff set up. Oh, we'll just keep on Blackwood. Let's just go for that. Really nice. Every car feels really unique in VR and individual. Whereas when I play on triple screens, I tend to sort of move the camera forwards and have a really low field of view just to sort of feel as much in the car as possible and be able to see the lateral shifts of motion from the bonnet. It's a low grip vehicle, here we go. This has a really indecisive front end, this car. Whoa! Super indecisive front end with this default setup. Nice little leather seats. Looks like some kind of knockoff Lotus Elise type vehicle, but with some weird clown-like bodywork. And actually, that's a nice thing that really adds to the sense of speed over the DK2 is the because the clarity is there in front of the vehicle, I can very clearly see the road texture. And often in driving simulators, I think what makes one sim feel faster than another one is the road texture and that going past you. So detailed road textures tend to make driving sims feel faster because if you think about it, the thing that's closest to you, to the driver's position, is the road texture. So that's where you're going to get most of your sense of speed from. It turns out I can't drive this. Try to slide it around a bit. This car's about as decisive as a shopping trolley filled full of bricks. Just if this was a road car, people would be dying every day all over the place. Ah! No, understeer. I'll be seeing experts that live for speed that are used to doing drifting and be shaking their heads at this. Of course, it's when you go to record a video, it all goes to pot. They're the windmills. Liveforspeed.de. But I think we can pretty much end the video there. That's an introduction to VR in driving simulators with Live for Speed specifically. As I say, absolutely fantastic. A really nice evolution on the DK2. Only really disappointment is the price. It's just a lot of money, but you get virtual reality from it. So you're going to have to weigh that up if it's something you're interested in. For me, I'm going to find it hard to go back to screens if I ever do, and I don't think I will, to be honest. So I just hope all the driving simulators get VR sorted. But thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe. We're going to go through loads of VR content. Of course, we're driving simulators and checking out the other VR games that have come out. So subscribe, like, all that business. Make your gran a cup of tea. I will see you. Goodbye.